It's your boy Bleed. Everybody listen up. Let's get it. I'm trying to put money in your pocket. That crypto wallet. That bing bada bing ching ching big profit. Even when the market's sideways, I'm looking for ways to get paid. I'm checking my coins around breakfast, then again around bedtime. Bet this, it's not financial advice, but I'm always right. 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 I'm always right.
Always right, and all that kind of. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Believes Crypto Show. My name is Believes. We're here to talk about this crazy crypto world. Make sure you hit the like button on the way in. We got big news in the market right now because it is absolutely insane. And what I mean by that is the return of Benjamin Franklin Delano Roosevelt Armstrong just showed up on the radar. By the way, I went through this video. I analyzed it. That green right there, you see that? Those trees right there, they're from August 24th. I date checked them. Okay. So we got Ben Armstrong having returned. By the way, doesn't look like Charles Manson anymore. Looks great. Looks fantastic. But he's talking about the Ethereum emergency. And here's the best part. He skipped over all of the BS that goes with everything. Okay. He didn't play around. He didn't screw around. He went out and he just started focusing on what he does. And that is bringing about altcoin season. So you can't have an altcoin season without Bitboy. So now that Bitboy's back, altcoin season can officially begin. So shout out to Ben Armstrong. Glad to see he's coming back. The return, my opinion, you guys know that you've seen me with Terra Luna Classic. You've seen me with OM. Now you're seeing it with Ben Armstrong. I love a comeback story. I think a comeback story is the most important thing that you can have in any story, in any market. And if he brings it back big time, and by the way, a lot of what he was talking about was letting you know, trade volume, things like that. Go use his vendors down below, stuff like that. So he is back, and we should see some live streams. We should start to see some stuff coming from him over the next couple of days, and that will be an indication that altcoin season is here. Do I know that? Is it scientific? Nope. No, not at all. Muskrat King says, is Bencoin back too? There's always one. There's always one. No, it's not. But Hussein Faraj is in jail in Australia. So the person that stole the money has been caught. By the way, just to clarify, Hussein Faraj did not get caught because of Bencoin. He got caught because of 7 other coins that he stole the liquidity from before Bencoin. So yes, the guy who did it has been arrested. And will Ben go back to doing it? And here's my answer to, will Ben launch another coin? Probably. I mean, he'll probably do something like that because it's a way to raise flash cash. And I'm not sure whether he will or won't, but it is a way to raise capital. So, I don't know. Roy G says, Austin from Dev E is the same from Bencoin. Yes, that's Austin Ramped. And matter of fact, I met Austin through Bencoin originally, and the fact that he's in Dev E is actually a coincidence to that. He had a lot of ideas for Bencoin, just so you guys understand, to give you some clarity, in my opinion. Okay, Ben is a serious person. Austin is a serious person. Austin is about building serious infrastructure and business in the crypto space. Ben is serious about what he does, which is promotional and informative news cycle stuff. Okay. Austin and Ben were kind of butting heads because Austin had big beliefs. He thought a certain way about a lot of different things, and he thought that he could bring about a massive ecosystem to Bencoin. Ben was not interested in that. So what Austin was doing ended up being for naught. But when we started talking about the Bencoin wallet, just for full disclosure, this is what happened. Yes, you know what? Austin has never told me anything about Devi. I've gotten no information from Austin, but actually, you know what? Let me go back. I met Austin after Bencoin again, incidentally on Devi. I didn't even know he was part of the project at the point that I partnered with them. It was just a happy coincidence. Happy for me because I like Austin, because Austin is a genuine and, in my opinion, honest guy. So having him there made it easier for me to say, you know what, this actually validates the project. And by the way, it validates the project because I know what Austin was doing with Bencoin. And I know that Ben was the obstacle preventing that from happening. Also, I understood basically fundamentally that Ben was just looking for a specific lane, okay? This grandiose sort of scheme that was based upon hype. Austin was looking at the fundamentals and he wanted to create something, and it was going to be expensive. And that's where the problem set in, because the market did not support the amount of money that needed to be spent on Bencoin to make that Bencoin wallet, to make all of the things that go along with what they planned on doing. So Austin got frustrated, and then they pivoted and just said, "Hey, look, we're clearly we're not going to do this." But just so you guys know, the way that this was going to work. And by the way, I was in on the conversation, so I was part of it. But basically what it was going to do is you're going to be able to pull up your phone. You're going to be able to go into your Bencoin wallet, and you're going to say, hey, I need you to make a trade for me. I need you to sell half of my Bencoin when the price hits a specific amount, and then convert that to USDC and then send it to my Coinbase wallet. You're done trading. That was it. That was the innovation that we were going to have. You were going to be able to talk to your phone, and you're going to be able to use AI to make all of the decisions. And it would confirm it on your phone that that's what you wanted to do. And you just hit a button and boom, it would start to execute. And you could create your own strategies and everything with that wallet. It was absolutely incredible. Okay. Like to have Austin's DevE buy and sells, full disclosure. Didn't know he was with Ben. I don't know Austin's wallet, but here's what I will tell you. For those of you that don't know Austin was all in on Polygon back in the day. Austin made millions on Polygon. Austin also keeps a portfolio like I tell you to do, with most of his money in Bitcoin, with a little bit more, half of it in Bitcoin, 25% in Ethereum, and 25%, or Ethereum and Solana now, but then the other 25% into some higher mid caps. And then you have like a tiny percent delegated to micro caps and stuff like that. Okay. That's been the strategy. That's the strategy the whole time. Well, Austin is all in on DevE. Austin believes that he is going to be, in my opinion, hundreds of millions, that he's going to make hundreds of millions from DevE when DevE really, really runs. So he is very committed right now. He is one of those insiders that was going, oh shit, you know what? You're right. It was Phantom. Before it pivoted and before it became something else, it was Phantom. It was the old one that used to have like the ghost one and the witch coin and the devil coin and the demon coin. It just had all kinds of weird, spooky Halloween level stuff. It was called Phantom. He was in there early. He made a bunch of money off of it. And then he pivoted away. It became a traditional kind of investor or something. And then just, because of Block Bytes, which was his company, pivoted over, and DevE became his passion, and he is committed to it. And like one day, I'll tell you guys a secret. One day I said, hey, Austin, it sure would be cool. It sure would be cool if you told me one day when it's time to just go all in on DevE. And he said, I'm already all in on Devi. So you do it whenever you want to do it, boo-boo, because I can't give you any inside information, but I can tell you this. I'm all in. And if I were going to give you financial advice, I would say get all in now. And by the way, that was a year ago. That was a year ago when we were trading at like 20 cents. So shout out, the guy was right from that context, but you know what I mean? Like he wouldn't give me any insider information. He wouldn't give me inside details. I couldn't get anything out of him. And by the way, to this point, I talked to just a couple days ago, I talked to Tom Anderson. Guess what? No information. I can't get anything out of these guys. They're not going to tell me. So, because I'm going to tell you, you know what I mean? I'm going to be like, go into the private chat at $4.99. By the way, if you're not a member of the channel right now at $4.99 a month, like what are you? Broke or something, man? Go sign up, become a member of the channel. By the way, if I can get 500 people to sign up and become a member of the Bleav Crypto channel, then that's going to be an incredible thing. So make sure you sign up today. Otherwise, you might turn the frogs gay. And that's not cool because Alex Jones will come out and have a report for you. All right, let's get into news right now. Tom Lee's Bitmine has just added $800 million in Ethereum to the Ethereum treasury amid the price drop. And of course, the price drop. What are we talking about when we talk about price drop? Well, we had a crash over the weekend. If you break it back down, we had a move up to about 4 trillion market cap, and then we lost a couple $100 billion over the last 2 days. By the way, it was a flash. This happened over the weekend. Yesterday, this right here, this ridiculous candle right here. Look at this. We had a nice little surge. We're sitting here yesterday morning, Sunday morning. We're sitting at a 3.91 trillion market cap, and then boom, 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 boom. We're up 90 billion dollars in very short order, and we're like, wow, this is going to be an incredible day. Like we are building, and then the bottom fell out, and we ended up at 3.8 trillion market cap because guys, it's manipulation. It's just pure manipulation. Institutions just sell off on you at a moment's notice because they're trying to steal from you. Okay. They're trying to steal from you. That's really all this comes down to. All right. That's it. They're and by the way, DGen Brian says a whale sold and got ETH and staked it. And by the way, that's not why. That was just one seller. Like we make this out to be because we're looking for news articles and we're looking for reasons to explain why we're being manipulated. Nobody gives a shit about one whale. Like the guy didn't sell off his entire, like it wasn't MicroStrategy dumping on the market, taking Bitcoin back to 60,000. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just all of a sudden you're getting some kind of manipulation event is basically what's happening. All right. However, over the weekend, Ethereum hit an all-time high, which, by the way, like guys, you can't even make this shit up. Okay. Crypto has some of the dumbest people that you've ever even seen. And by the way, when I say dumbest, I mean people like me. I don't mean people like you or these other people. Like these guys are geniuses, but I'm a dumbass because I think that you should be honest with people. That makes me a moron, by the way. For those of you that don't understand how crypto works, being honest in crypto does not work, okay? You have to lie. You have to manipulate people. It's crazy. It's just horrible. This guy comes out and he says, if Ethereum is not going to an all-time high, Ethereum won't see its all-time high until sometime in late September. 3 hours later, we hit an all-time high. This guy's got 100,000 people who are viewing his stuff, telling you that what's happening is not actually happening. And people are like, yeah, bro, good call. Yeah, bro, good call. And I didn't see 100,000 people go back to that thread and say, you fucking moron. You know what I mean? All they were like, oh, man, bro, you get it next time. Like, it's just absolutely crazy to me. Like, just insane. Anyway, look at Ethereum, though. Yes, it broke down a few hours ago. And then guess what? About 4 a.m., the reversal started. Now, the question is, did we get down enough? Well, here is your spot right there. That's your first level of support, right? Is it going to break above on this one? I don't think so. I think that this becomes our support, like right in this range right here. Too much action right there. So I would say this: if you're going to set a buy order right now for Ethereum, your buy order should be set at about 4,400, 4,300, somewhere in that neighborhood. You can also be far more aggressive. And I think that when you start to zoom out and you start to look at it over a longer time frame, that maybe, just maybe, you start to see this move back down here into 4,000 creeping up. So I'm not telling you even use a leverage position here, but should remember, this little range is an important range, and most likely we're going to see that revisited before we see another big spike in action and another big spike in movement. And by the way, if you were talking to Ben Armstrong, he would probably tell you the same thing. All right, so another thing. Strategy bought 3% of the Bitcoin supply. They bought another 3,081 Bitcoin. Strategy has announced another Bitcoin purchase, bringing its total holdings to over 3% of Bitcoin's total supply, while the MicroStrategy stock struggles. Now, is it really struggling? We're going to come over here, and we're going to look at Strategy, and we're going to zoom out here just a little bit. And can I ask, does that look like something that's struggling to you? When in doubt, zoom out. Does that look like something that's struggling to you? Like, what the fuck are we doing? Again, like I said, to be honest with you means that you won't watch. And I'm not, again, this is no disrespect to you, the watcher, or anything like that. But if I'm honest with you and I say shit like this, like, hey guys, look, up. MicroStrategy is doing great. You're going to find somebody, some dingbat who bought the top or thought they could manipulate you from the top. You know, one of these buyers who goes out here and just buys the top just so they can bitch because it's good for their influence. Just, it's unbelievable how seedy and disgusting this space is sometimes. And by the way, I don't mean to dump on, I don't mean to dump on people like that, but if you're stupid, you're stupid. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make it. Whoo, I'm going to lose my mind, guys. I'm going to lose my mind. Anyway, Strategy bought a few more, and I got to stop talking about these fucking people. All right, anyway, AI Invest. We're going to talk about something brand new, by the way. We're going to go full screen for this one. Over the next couple of days, weeks, and months, I'm going to be talking about some new project. And it's not really a new project. In fact, it has a $3.3 billion market cap. But because it is what it is, and because I keep looking around and I keep just seeing mentions of it, I got intrigued. Then I reached out to one of the companies, and I'm going to partner with them. And we're going to start talking about a $3 billion blockchain. And that blockchain is called Tau. It's Tensor. So if you haven't already, and by the way, it's entertainment based, which is kind of cool. But I got this, but this had nothing to do with the reason why. But I had this thing from BlockByte a couple days ago. It says how to allocate $1,000 in crypto in 2025, Bitcoin, Solana, and Tensor for a balanced portfolio. So I thought that's actually very, very cool. So then I start looking in. I already talked to him, and Tensor, $342 a share right now. Market cap over here as high as 4.5 billion in 1 month, but all time a little over 5 billion. So it looks like it just kind of hasn't had that moment where it just goes absolutely bonkers or broke out or anything like that, right? 3.35 billion market cap, 168 million in volume, circulating supply of about 10 million Tau tokens. So we're going to start making some content based on this for the next little while. We're going to see whether or not this thing is going to grow. And let me, back up a little bit. If this is what I think that it could be, as we start to break this down, then we could be looking at a top 10 crypto. Top 10 crypto means that it could very easily 10x in this market up to a $30 billion market cap. And then it would be on the same level as everybody's favorite stablecoin, Cardano. So we're going to be talking about Tensor, the Tau crypto for a little while, currently ranked number 35 overall. Okay. And down 22% on the year, though, by the way. So, I think we're going to see a big move here from this thing coming up. Now, let's talk about market indicators. No bull market indicators. So what does that mean? It means hold 100%. What you're seeing right now is a manipulation event. Don't worry about it. Don't concern yourself with it because it is unimportant. Now, put your username into the comment section down below, and we're going to give you $50. So the first person to put their username from terracasino.io will win $50 in funds on terracasino.io through their username. And then boom, you can start making your money right away. Okay. Eddie RVA is going to be our winner, but Bone Shiba Swap says, I want the truth. 4 years doing crypto, I see through bullshit now. I understand these people are not educated in what they are saying. I understand the composite man and his tactics. I don't know what the composite man. I don't know what the composite man is and his tactics. But listen, the truth here. Let me give you two truths, okay? Because I keep dumping on people, but let's face it, none of us really know. Let me give you an example, okay? I told you guys on Ben Armstrong's show a long time ago that Bitcoin would hit an all-time high before the halving, okay? We used to do this show. It was called Crypto Crossfire. And me, Nick, Sam, Crypto Lifer, and Jay Chains, we had this little show that was going on. And I had this idea that I said that Bitcoin was going to hit the all-time high before the halving, right? That it was going to beat 50,000, I think was the number, right? That was the thing that I gave it. And they said there's absolutely no way. Why? Because when we're doing it down here at 20,000. And I'm telling you that it's going to happen over here. I think what was it, August of 2023. So it's right in this little range right here. This is where Bitcoin was. So then I said, listen, based on my thesis, based on the way this thing is playing out, this is what I see. Okay. And what I gave them at that time was, and by the way, Ben was the judge of it. Okay. So what I said was, this is kind of how we're playing out right now. And that what we're going to see is a break towards the top of this range, which by the way, it was kind of like this right here, right now. And I said, we're going to break to the top of this range at some point. And I can't set it all the way up right now, but this was generally what I was talking about for a long period of time. Also, I was probably logarithmic. Yeah, I was probably logarithmic when I did that because that's a little easier to. So it's in this channel. And I said, this channel is going to continue. This channel is just going to keep going. And by the way, that channel is still going 3 years later. Okay. So anyway, what I said was that this was my thesis. This was what was going to happen. So we bet 1 Ethereum. By the way, Nick immediately paid up on that. But he bet that it would not happen. Ben Armstrong changed his mind to it was not going to happen to it was going to happen. Like everything, just all of a sudden, bang. But the idea here was I was telling you that before it was even happening. So if you're an investor who invested because of what I said on that show right now, at 25,000, you're at 100 and what are you at 112? You're at 112,000 right now. This was the greatest moment in your life. Now, if you were somebody who saw this was happening, got in right here at 96, 98, 100,000, and then as soon as you bought, you got a little bit of a surge, you felt pretty good, you went to sleep, and then boom, 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 boom. And now you're down at like 73,000, and you ended up selling because you didn't want to lose any more because you thought it was over. You hate crypto. And by the way, even though it was a brilliant move by Bitcoin, even though it was a huge move by Bitcoin that made a bunch of money, you're still mad because you lost a bunch of money because it was all about your perspective. So what I want to say to that, long story short, is perspective matters a great deal. When we say things like when in doubt, zoom out, I mean, that just gives you in the long term, you're going to be fine in crypto. Everything, by the way, will probably go to zero at some point, except Bitcoin, maybe Ethereum, maybe Solana. But I mean, when you start to break some of these down, then I don't think that what we're seeing right now is what we're going to see. And the reason that I don't, by the way, is because I don't know that we in crypto have the capital to stop what's coming. And what is coming is banks having their own blockchains, having their own privatized blockchains, having a public blockchain that everybody kind of shares, and that instead of going to Coinbase to buy crypto, you're going to buy it with Chase. With your Chase mobile app, you're going to be able to log into your Capital One app. You're going to be able to log into your American Express app. You're going to be able to log in to whichever one of these apps you have, and then boom, you're going to be able to buy your crypto there. We're going to fundamentally change the way that these, and I'm not sure that we can stop it. Okay. So best we can do is make money off of it and hope for the best. I mean, really, to be serious, but long-term, still going to go up for a while. Bitcoin, not done with its move. So if you're looking at it from this standpoint, then you love crypto. If you bought at 25,000, believing that Believes was going to be right, and boom, 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 you're at 120,000. Now you're up 5-6x. Ta-da! You fucking won. You won. So, however, let's also say that in the event that you bought Ethereum around 4,500, 4,000, 4 or 5 years ago, when it was ripping over there, if you bought during that period of time, then you're not feeling really good about it. You spent a long time here losing a bunch of money off of it. Now, if you bought over here, again, if you bought, way down deep at $100 or $200 or something like that, and it's, if it was even at 13, 1400, you're feeling great because you're still up massively. It's going to go back up, stuff like that. But again, if you bought the top, you hate that project. So it's perspective for a lot of people. It's perspective. Okay. We got a legend in the house, by the way. DJ and Brian remembers the show that I was on where I was given the thesis behind 50,000, that I was given the thesis about why I was going to be right and why everybody else who was, by the way, all of these guys, just so you guys, for clarity's sake, nobody agreed with me that Bitcoin was headed to 50,000 like that. Nobody agreed with me. Okay. Nobody. Sam, Crypto Lifer, was like, goddamn, like that actually, it was something that he hadn't seen. And this guy does he's an everyday trader. Okay. He's not a long-term guy, or he is a long-term guy, but he likes to do day trading, and that's where he makes his money. So, he wasn't looking at it the same way that I was. I was looking at a long-term thing, and he recognized it. He saw it. And he was like, oh shit, you know what? Actually makes perfect sense. You know what I mean? So, sometimes you just notice something. Doesn't mean that I'm a great trader. Doesn't mean I'm a great investor. Doesn't mean anything other than I just happened to find a moment in time where I was right in that regard. You know what I mean? So it was crazy. But again, if you buy the top, you're not going to like your project. If you buy the bottom, you're going to love your project, basically. So we'll see what happens with all of these. Now, Eddie RVA is going to be our winner of $50 for the day. By the way, he beat Parrot 34 to the cut on that. So we do have a winner. Also, if you're trading meme coins or utility coins on the Terra Luna Classic blockchain, terraport.finance is your place to go. Also, meme linked. Pablo just saw something that I've been talking about for a couple of days. Am I saying I'm better than Pablo? I mean, we're not doing a most muscular pose, but clearly, Pablo looks like warm bubble gum. You know what I mean? And I look like the cannon that launches the bombs out to destroy your village. You know what I mean? Boom, boom. Anyway, so this is playing out right now on Meme Linked. And usually when something like that plays out, then the end result of that play out is a move back up to the top of the range. Doesn't mean that we're going to break out, but it does mean that there should be a pretty significant move of about an easy 2 or 3x that's coming over the next little while. And then the question is, will it break out above, break the trend line, and then start to go test that all-time high? And that all-time high, by the way, not that much. So when you break out of Meme Linked and you start to look around and you say, well, how high can it go? Boom, boom, go to market cap. Oh, shit. You go to market cap. Oh my God, why am I on 1 hour? 16 million market cap. This thing could go to 100 million market cap just because it's a meme-based protocol. You could go, I mean, again, it's lining up perfectly, just lining up perfectly right now for an absolute banger of a run. Everything is lined up. Now, will it do that? I don't know. But I think Pablo is one of those guys. He understands fundamentally things that other people do not. Okay. Look at some of the cryptos that we talk about some of the time, right? What has a huge market cap over here? Mantra, 241 million market cap, bunch of exchanges. WikiCat, 105 million market cap, bunch of exchanges. So the people who fundamentally understand how to crypto, their cryptos are on a bunch of exchanges. MemeLinked is now focused on getting on exchanges. Now, the consequence of that action is that you have a dip every time you get on a new exchange, but you either rip with the anticipation of going on an exchange each time, right? Then you have that breakout moment. So now we're just waiting to see, do we get a nice little listing? Is it a breakout moment? You create a bigger pool of investors. You get more people involved in your project. You get more people paying attention by being on centralized exchanges. And that's exactly what they're doing right now. And I think that that's going to mean that MemeLinked is going to pop at some point. And by the way, when people start to find MemeLinked, one of the things that they're going to find is they're going to find that it's literally an ecosystem in which meme coins can advertise themselves. So I don't think that people are going to dislike what they find with MK. So if you haven't already, get yourself a bag of MemeLink. Now, don't forget also that if you want to get into an ecosystem here that is giving you rewards every single day, CC Coin is your place to go. Micro caps at this point. Again, the same thing applies, by the way. At some point, they're going to need to get on exchanges. Okay, that's an imperative, all right? But this is a grassroots sort of campaign. So if they find a way to get a few exchange listings and stuff like that, guess what? All of a sudden, the brand expands quite a bit. Now, Bud 2 might be the one that does it. Bud 2 might be the one because it's got a cute dog sort of look or aesthetic or something like that. And by the way, if CC, if you are watching right now, then I would highly suggest, I'm not telling you what to do, but if I'm looking at something from an art standpoint, I really like what I see with Bud 2. Okay. I really like what I see, but that's not shared with the ecosystem. So might I suggest maybe, just maybe, we start getting the same artist that did Bud 2. If it was AI, then AI, I mean, whatever, create a template for that kind of art style, whatever it is, and apply it to all the other coins or tokens. I think that would actually work really, really well to see, because there'd be some cohesiveness to it, and there's a sense of style. And right now, each one of these looks just a slight bit different. And this is it kind of sticks out over here. A cartoon CC would be perfect, using the same art style. Blockchain beauties, again, using the same art style. I think it's important. It may not be, I might be crazy, but I think it's important. I think that when you have symmetry in your design, that people pay more attention to it in their minds. Also, Dev Exchange. I don't really have anything to report to you from Dev Exchange. Don't really know anything that's going on right now, other than, again, they just do their hype stuff, where one of the important aspects is what we're building and creating trust, and how will you transact anything and everything in the DevX blockchain? It's all thanks to our innovative asset management token. It's just the tiny hype train. They're not putting any effort into it right now. It's not time for it. There will be time. There's going to be a moment. We're just not there yet. So I'm holding firmly and waiting for that big explosive move, because I'm sure that it's going to happen. Definity, if you haven't already, check out Definity here. Starting today, we're proud to launch our Leadership Spotlight Series. Each day we'll introduce a member of our leadership team, and you're going to find out who's behind the Definity markets and everything that goes on there as well. Institutions don't care about memes, hype, or token pumps. They want regulated execution, seamless fiat crypto rails, and they demand single point failure. And by the way, isn't this exactly what I'm talking about with Devi? This is why I put these two together. I don't know if they'll make a partnership. I don't know if they'll do anything. but it just seemed to me like it is a natural fit. So maybe something becomes of it, and maybe we see something crazy happen over here. By the way, I don't know if I'll be partnered with them next month. You know what I mean? So I'm partnered with them this month. Buy yourself some Definity. If we pump the charts, by the way, I continue to partner with them. And by the way, this again, the way that I feel right now on Definity is it's very simple here. There's that downward pressure that you're feeling. It is because it hasn't been quote unquote discovered by a mass amount of people in the market. And part of the reason for that is because it's a recent launch and it's not a meme coin. You know, it's something that's going to have to build. There's going to be a moment in time where it gets discovered, and it's going to be discovered by institution. That's the important part. Forex trading is an institutional grade product. Okay. So even if I zoom this out, by the way, and do this, we're still on a very, very bullish trajectory. If you just kind of take a moment and look at it. So we go to the top of this range up here, not a whole lot. It's the breakout. It's the breakout and the big move, because when we look at it overall, we're really talking about just a small market cap, just a very, very small market cap at this point that's going to go, in my opinion, so much higher, because 4.3 million market cap. What is it worth? What is it worth to be the major Forex player in institutional grade? 400 million market cap, 500 million market cap, $1 billion market cap, potentially. So I am super bullish about what could happen with Definity. Now it's just a matter of getting that integration, getting that thing final, just getting everything into place. And I think Definity is going to be a game-changing crypto in these markets. So if you haven't already, it's DEFX. You can get it. It's on Uniswap, currently paired with Ethereum. As far as exchanges go, Pancake Swap right now, just Pancake Swap. So again, no massive exchanges or anything like that. No massive exchanges. So you look at your liquidity pool. It's on Uniswap too, by the way. I don't know why that's not showing. And Biloxi. So big potential here. We'll see if it plays out that way. Now, let's go back over here and let's look at the bubbles. Saros up 17%. Everything else, Hype, 5%. Everything else, again, same thing here. Nothing standing out. ONT up 44%. So that works. Mix is up 10% on the day. Spark, 22%. Just nothing really standing out. Donkey, I mean, again, it's just a meme coin. Just a meme coin. Yeezy down another 18%. Flock up 32%. That was a pretty good one. Gods, I think, is a video game. Gods Unchained. So it's pumping a little bit. And Gearbox is up 26% on the month, but down 30% on the year. So just a lot of movement in the market, but no clear direction. 47 on the Fear and Greed Index, but we had a big sell-off. So this catastrophic big sell-off, is that going to take us back down to 30? If it does, guys, buy the farm, okay? The farm on Bitcoin. Just look, I'm telling you right now, if we go to the Fear and Greed Index of 30, then it is going to be the signal to kick off the biggest rally in the history of cryptocurrency. First, Bitcoin's going to go crazy. Then Bitcoin's going to cool off. Then Ethereum and Solana are both going to go crazy at the same time. You see strength in Solana right now. You see strength in Ethereum right now. You see a little weakness in Bitcoin, but that's going to reverse. Bitcoin's going to pop. Then when it pops, that money is going to start to cascade down. Ethereum, Solana, XRP, maybe Cardano will not be a stable coin, and maybe it will start to move at that point, but you're going to see a massive move in the market. And then that's going to mean that everybody up at the top is getting rich, and they're going to start speculating. And when they start speculating, my friends, it is altcoin season, and that altcoin season is going to blow up, and it's going to be the biggest super cycle altcoin season that we've ever seen. Last one was going to be, it's going to be like this one is going to be so much bigger. And the reason that it's going to be so much bigger, by the way, is, again, when in doubt, zoom out. We're at 4 trillion market cap right now. We ended last time at 3 trillion market cap. If we take off from 4 trillion market cap, we're talking about 7 or 8 or 9 trillion market cap by the time that we are done. So get ready for a massive move, and it is coming a lot sooner than you might think. Now, could it come too soon? No. Do we want to see it happen? Yeah. So we'll see. Now, flow on exchanges is starting to pick up for Bitcoin, which means that when we look at the ETF, what did we see? We saw outflows. Yeah, we saw a little bit of outflow yesterday, 23 million on Friday. And then what do we see on Ethereum? Massive inflows one more time, 337 million. Guys, I'm telling you right now, it's getting absolutely nanners. Also, the Solana ETF overview, again, massive inflow, 3.8 million. Now, remember, this is just the start. This is not US. This is not the stock exchange. I think this is the Canadian exchange. I believe that this is SSK Rex Osprey. Let's see, Rex Osprey Solana ETF. Here we go. It's a staked Solana ETF. Okay, so there we go. Anyway, first of its kind, and we're looking at good flows in the positive. So big sign right there of good stuff happening. Exchanges, Solana and Ethereum are in it. And look at Hyperliquid, absolutely blowing up at 3.68 billion, happening just out of nowhere, has passed BSC, who is now tanking it down to 2 billion. But look at this volume here, 9 billion, 13 billion, 15 billion, 17 billion, 18 billion, 19 billion, 20 billion, $20 billion in DeFi on a Sunday. On a Sunday. That is absolutely nanners. So, are we getting started? Yes. Is it going to be so much bigger? Yes. When is it going to exactly happen? I don't know. It's complicated Bitcoin shit. You know what I mean? Just complicated Bitcoin shit. All right, guys. So let's close this out. We're at 68, 69 right now. Where are we looking at? We're looking at a move back down, in my opinion, we got to come up with a top over here. We just bounced off of 3.7. We're not holding. We're coming back down into that range. I don't know if we're going to see the same sort. Okay, so here's what I would say, right? If we're looking at it from the context of Fibonacci, which I would give you as what I say. Once we get a top over here, we're going to come back down into the 5.0 or the 618 or maybe the 786. And then we're going to bounce back up. And we already did that. Then we're going to have a steeper correction. So the steeper correction is going to come down. So where would I look for? Right there, 3.5 trillion. So here's where I'm ultimately looking, 3.5 trillion. Set your buys for somewhere in that range. Now, what does that look like on Bitcoin? So on Bitcoin, I think we're already there. Yeah, we're at the top of the range right now. So this is the spot, by the way, that I would look for a potential. I would buy Bitcoin right here, right now at this spot because we're bouncing off of that. But if we want to sink deeper into this range, if we pull up volume, then I think you're going to see that, yeah, there's a nice little thread of volume here, right around 105,000. Also right there at the very end at about 107,000. And what I'm looking at when I see that is volume. There's your volume node. There's another little volume node right there. But that volume node right there, right at the bottom of my range, which matches up with this ridiculous little pattern that we created. Oops. With this ridiculous little pattern that we created a little while ago, meaning that it is potential that we go right there naturally to the bottom of that range at 107,000 before breaking out for that next big breakout move. Boom. That's what I think is getting ready to happen. And we're about to get more volatile. It's about to get more crazy. So that's what I'd be looking for to happen. Now, why do I say that? Let's go to M2 money supply. Did it fall off a cliff? No, it did not. As a matter of fact, it broke out and it's going up. Did you guys notice? And by the way, look, we have a trend line right here. Look at that trend line right there. And look what happened right there at the top. Now, you might not be able to see it because it's very difficult to get a good zoom on this. But right there, we've broken out again. And you know what that means? That means we are going so much higher. We are going so much higher on our overall money flowing into the market, which means the bull run is not over. And my thesis, remember, my thesis is this. We're going to have a big top somewhere around October or November. Then we're going to start to crash a little bit. We're going to have that corrective measure, and then we're going to have a blow off in the beginning of next year. Now, how do I establish my thesis is going to be valid? Well, I'm making a guess right now, but it's gonna look something like this, like it did before. Okay. Now, let's again zoom this out and just kind of look at it. We're going to put a comparison to it. Where are we right now? Now we're seeing this big move right here is playing out right here during this period of time. So we've seen this, and this. None of that matters. All right. That's just more volume. Okay. What we're seeing is mass adoption. So the curve is going to keep going. And I think that if I had to say, where are we in the market? I would say that we are probably right there. I would say that we're probably right in that 34,000, 35,000 range where we had a nice big 2X coming from Bitcoin. And then boom, we have a blow off right there. Then we have a steep correction. Then we have another big blow off again. So I think we're going to have this, and we're going to have this, and then we're going to have that. And I think we're going to have a big breakout that way. And that's what makes the most sense to me when I look at the charts, when I look at where we are, when I look at the fact that we haven't had an altcoin season, that we really haven't had. Now, I shouldn't say that. We've had a mini altcoin season twice. We had that in March of 2024 in the run up for Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs. And then we had one at the end of last year, but it didn't even break into all-time highs. And DeFi should be breaking out by this point. And it did not break out. So at all, did not break out at all. So we're not there yet. When you see DeFi, really break out, that's when you will know we're there. Okay. What we're looking for is right there. So what we're looking for is a 200 billion market cap, and we're looking to use 200 billion as support. That's when things are going to get very, very serious for these markets, when that happens right there. And that's not going to happen, by the way, until number one, Bitcoin rips, number two, Ethereum rips. That will cause the rest of the market, XRP, Solana, and the rest of them, that will cause them all to start going. Also, OM dipping a little bit more. I bought more OM. Guys, I'm a glutton for punishment, all right, at this point. Now, the reason that I'm a glutton for punishment on OM is because I feel like I am one of the few people right now that are seeing the forest through the trees. All right. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm going to be right about this. And it doesn't mean that it's not going to break down further. It doesn't mean that I'm not even going to make money off of it. It doesn't even mean any of that. It means that I believe that I am. And that's enough for me. And by the way, I'm transactional in this. I'm not just holding in the hopes of a 100X or anything like that. I'm holding right here for 50 cents. Okay. And by the way, I have 7,000 in one wallet, and I have 6,000 in another wallet, and I have 10,000 in a third wallet. Once I get to 10,000, then I move it. I've got a centralized, I've got a centralized, I have a DeFi wallet that I've got it in right now. The 7 and the 6 are both on centralized exchanges, KCEX and Weeks. So and when I get to 10,000 on one of those, that's going to go into the other batch, and I'll have 20,000 in that wallet, and then I'll continue to build. So I am a big fan of what could potentially happen here. And again, let me say for the record, one investor got liquidated through Aave, the end. That's it. That's what happened and caused this entire collapse. There was nothing wrong with the project. There's nothing wrong with the product. They've continued to bring on new partners, and they've done a fantastic job. Now, why has that not applied to the market? Well, people are scared in the market, but here's the thing. Ultimately, memories are short-lived. The reason that I say that is because when I look at this and then I put some perspective on it, and that perspective is Solana over here. When Solana collapsed, and remember, Solana absolutely collapsed, and this was what happened here, right? That's what happened. Now, let me point out that structurally speaking, we had the big collapse. Let's move this right here. Let's dump that right there. Boom, 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 boom. And we had this move here. We had this big retest right here to about 40 cents, which was right there where it goes from $8 up to $14. Then we had an even steeper ouch movement. Then we came up to the top of the range of where it was before the collapse, which I don't think that's viable. I think that's more like this right here at 63 to 70, 80 cents. But this move right here is the one that I think is cooked in right now. Like I think that there is a move to about 60 cents, which is going to be right in that range. That's enough for me. At that point, I will have made my point and I will exit, look for this dip to happen again, where we go back down to 40 cents from that range. I'll accumulate a bunch more right here. And then hopefully we'll see the recovery. Now, when you look at the recovery, remember that the high on Solana back in the day was 260. But eventually, it went up to 300 bucks. So it goes so much higher. So I think that that's what's going to happen here for OM. But again, we're transactional on this. We're not saying, I'm not saying, and this is my risk to take on, not yours. So but I think that this is going to happen. All right. I think that we're going to get a big rip off of it. And by the way, I'll be out probably at 420 for another move down here into like $1, $2. You know what I mean? Like when if it zooms and ends up at 420 for whatever reason and goes crazy, then I'm going to, again, sell. Hopefully I've accumulated some more from that first move. But then I'm going to sell. And I'm going to set a buy order for somewhere around $1.75. And I'm going to use all the money, by the way. I'm going to use all the money. I'm going to set a buy order for around $1.75. And then I'm going to see whether or not it does what I think it's going to do, which is this, move into here. And then, of course, a little, back test. And then I think we're going to see a surge. Boom. We're going to get it right here. Then we're going to get it right there. And then that's what we're going to start to see, this move right here. And that move right there. And then all of a sudden an all-time high. So I would like to be able to get back into that $9 range. I don't know if it'll ever happen. What I know is once it makes this big move right here, I've made my profit. I've won already on the transaction. I'm good. Once I do that, that'll be a 3x basically. So once I get that 3x out of the way, we're good. And then we'll focus on whatever happens next. So anyway, that's it. That's the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. You guys, I appreciate you. If you haven't already, I assume Ben is probably going to go live at some point. Set your notifications for Ben Armstrong's channel to see whether or not he comes. I don't know whether he's going to be live or not. I assume that he probably will pretty soon. And if not today, maybe sometime very, very soon. Last stream that he had 4 months ago. So it's going to be good to see him back. Hopefully, by the way, he'll be doing it from his home, I think, for a while. So, we'll see what happens there. But if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the Bitboy Crypto channel. There we go. The first new video from Ben Armstrong has been released. All right. So guys, go follow Ben. And we'll talk to you again soon. And remember, it's not financial advice. I'm always right. By the way, for anybody who's offended by things that Ben Armstrong did, I hope that he apologizes to J-Chains. I hope that he apologizes to me. I hope that he apologizes to Cassie. I hope that he apologizes to AJ. And I hope that he apologizes to everybody. But I've told you what I think. The one thing that you saw, guys, let me just also say this for the record. What I told you was what he liked was religion and church and stuff like that. And his fans were church-going people. Well, guess what? Yesterday, during church hours, he had his I'm driving to church moment again. Now, does that mean that he went to church or anything like that? No, it does not. I have no idea. That's not my lane, not my business. I don't really give a shit. Okay. What I care about is Ben being back in crypto. And I think that's good for crypto. So at that time when he should have been doing it, that's exactly what was, that's what was going on. So I think that I'm going to end up being right. And that, Ben has found his way back, and we should see some real interesting stuff over the next days, weeks, and months. It's not financial advice, but I'm always looking for the good life, good life.